Jeff and Linda here live at the Western Fair, and look at it, it's fresh, it's brand new music right here from our next guest.
That's right, Sharon's here. She's going to talk about her wonderful CD, Follow in Your Footsteps. Sharon, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're recently down at Ground Zero.
Last week, yes.
Why don't you tell us how 9/11 affected you?
Well, I'm a world traveler, a proud Canadian, originally from London, and New York is one of my favorite cities in the world. I've visited New York over 25 times in my travels.
And you have a personal connection there because your daughter was there? Sorry?
My daughter was there a year ago, the week previous to 9/11, and was settling into a dorm very close to the World Trade Center. And actually we said goodbye Labor Day weekend. I went back to Paris, France, where I lived for part of the year. And decided on spur of the moment that she would come to Paris on September 10th to stay for a week to settle her. She had some extra things to settle and had a week to spare before she actually went to school.
So she was not in New York
Manhattan.
City on the day off.
She happened to get out on the last flight out of Kennedy Airport.
Wow.
There was a thunderstorm that night.
It's amazing.
And so arrived in Paris. We went to the Champs-Élysées for lunch, went back to our apartment, walked in the door with a call from London here, my sister, saying, "Is Carly safe? Turn on CNN." So that's how we found out about it.
It must just kind of race through your mind all the what ifs and the possibilities. And I know so many people that had friends or family down there that just could not get in touch and communication with them because the phone systems were down there.
She had a lot of friends that she was worried about for a good 48 hours, and it was we just felt helpless.
So you're a singer-songwriter. How did the CD come about? I know a lot of people wanted to do something and felt so many emotions at that time. And what made you decide to write
I wrote this song because New York means so much to me, and I feel that wherever I've traveled, there's so much more good in the world than there is this evil act, this one act that was done to the American people and to all of us as a humanity. And I wrote this song from my heart to say that, you know, let's follow in these guys, all of the girls and the men and women who tried to save lives, and learn from their lesson of love. And the song is a song of hope that I hope carries on beyond a September 11th theme, because the song itself is about gratitude and hope, and it's very uplifting.
And this was all produced here in London, is
all
that correct?
All produced at EMAX Studios in London with my producer Brian Fox, Orchestra London, and other musicians in the area.
Fantastic, and obviously a work of love for you, and Follow in Your Footsteps, a great title, and I think a great message, obviously, to think of those men and women that gave of themselves, and quite frankly, a lot of them making the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes, and we returned to Ground Zero last week to place it in their hands. We went to fire halls, we passed policemen and women on the street and handed out copies as gifts, and they were very touched, appreciative, and actually, a couple of them were teary-eyed, a couple of the men, and as we explained the song to them.
Can you explain Ground Zero to us, being there just a week ago? What is it like when you're there?
It looks like a construction site with a gaping hole in it, and it looks like it's the beginnings of a building to be raised, to be made, to be constructed.
How emotional was it for you?
But then all around it, very, very. I can't even describe how I felt, because I had been there and seen the towers and loved, you know, the grandeur of those towers was spectacular. And
what's it feeling like there right now?
Right now there are buildings around draped in black with the American flag. We will never forget. It's very moving. It's almost indescribable. And I'm sure everyone who's been back has felt it.
All right, well, the song is Follow in Your Footsteps. Is available at record stores right now?
It's available at The Gift of Art on Richmond Row right now. We are looking forward to distribution, and cdbaby.com. You can order it via the internet on cdbaby.com.
Sharon Costello, thanks for sharing your memories and your time with us here today on 9/11.
And I just want to mention that all the proceeds do go to the International Firefighters Association in Washington, D.C.
Excellent job, well done.
So that Canada can do something for the U.S.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thanks, all right. And speaking of that song there, Sharon Costello's Follow in Your Footsteps, it's part of our next piece as we go to Justine Turner, who's at Westmount Shopping Center.
Hi, we're back with Chat at Westmount. I'm Justine Turner. What you're seeing here is footage from our trip to New York City. 9/11 has affected so many people in so many different ways. What you're going to be seeing and hearing is comments from some of our guest speakers from our show.
Personally, I think my response was the same as anyone else in Canada or North America. The biggest impact is basically in terms of my job and my responsibilities to the community and making sure that for the London Police Service that we were prepared, along with other emergency services in the city, the fire department, ambulance, and of course along with the city leaders, that we were prepared to answer any need that may develop here in the City of London.
Often the question has been asked how the events of last September 11th affected and impacted upon firefighters within the City of London. As a group, it's pretty difficult to establish any pattern. Individually, a number of firefighters were deeply affected. And it's important during times, emotional times such as that, to talk it out with one another. Many of our firefighters went down to New York City on their off time to attend a number of funerals. Locally here with the Fallen Heroes Fund, many of our firefighters were able to collectively deal with the concern and care and contributions of many people from within London and the surrounding area, Woodstock, St. Thomas, Stratford, Strathroy. It's been a tough, difficult, trying time for all. Hopefully, a year later, we can respectfully pay homage to those that were deceased resulting from the events last year, and that we can move on, go forward, and continue to protect the citizens within our community.
Words can't describe the feelings came out of these people's mouths. First of all, they welcomed us with open arms. I had a testimony from a gentleman that I met in a shoe store across from the Empire State Building, and he had a good friend who perished in the World Trade Centers. And this gentleman I spoke to is 19 years old, and his friend was the same age. So, I mean, it goes to people that are even really young, to ones who are, it doesn't matter how old you are, seniors. It was just amazing, the fact that people had the strength to tell us their stories and how much they held up, and to let us know that they're going on. And it gave us inspiration as well, that one can go on after a major tragedy that happened to New York City, and not just New York City, but the Flight 93 that went down between Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania and the Pentagon. We went down to Ground Zero directly when we got down to New York City. We had a limousine that met us down there, and our chauffeur asked us, "Where do you want to go right now?" And I said, "Let's take us right to the Ground Zero, the World Trade Centers, where they were," because that was our whole point of going down. And we paid our respects to that, and that is a grave, and it was very emotional time for myself and the three crew people that went down with me. And we left there and then went around and just talked to so many people in New York for 2 days that were there. I'm Justine Turner, and I'm with Chat at Westmount.
You answered the call when it came. No question at all, only faith. The weight of the world on your back, all around you, the sound of breaking glass. I'll follow in your footsteps if I can.
All right, thanks very much. Great job there, Justine, and thanks to everybody for coming by today and sharing their moments and their memories of 9/11.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of fun to be had at the fair here as well, and we're going to get into that in the second half of the show today. Still ahead, we're going to talk to a Miss Canada and Miss Teen Canada, who are both here at the Western Fair.
That's right. We have psychic Dan Balcos coming up. He's got a new show on Rogers, and it's